Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. So listen responsibly.
It's the best of the best. It's the one and only DJ Ice, Louisville's coldest DJ.
Thank y'all for the cheers. Good evening. Welcome to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. I feel like I have walked a mile just to get to this broadcast when really I've been sitting here the whole time. Tonight's show is called The Incredible Deion Sanders. And we're going to talk about Deion Sanders tonight. We're going to talk about Deion Sanders tonight here on the show because everybody's talking about Deion Sanders. So why shouldn't we talk about Deion Sanders? I think I pulled a muscle. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the ripstick, but I might be suing him. Don't tell him. I know he's down in Atlanta, but I might be suing him because I think I pulled something in my back, although it works. It works. Puffs your chest, puffs your body, and it works out muscles that you probably haven't worked out in like 30 years. So I'm a little bit limp. So I got this pillow behind me in this chair, and I'm in a different chair. And I used to always wonder, Paul, why people sat with pillows in their chair. Now I understand. And maybe it's age. But anyway, I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Tonight we're going to talk about the incredible Deion Sanders. So I'm going to take a quick break. Paul Mullins is here with me tonight. And I want y'all to call in if you have some something to say about Deion Sanders. There's a lot to talk about Deion Sanders. Especially, it's going to be so much more to talk about Deion Sanders if he win. I didn't say if, Paul. I said when. When they beat the Oregon Ducks. The Buffaloes against the Ducks. Who do you think should win, Buffaloes or the Ducks? If the Buffaloes can catch the Ducks, then clearly the Buffaloes should win. Anyway, the number is 502-614-0441. If you want to call in and join us, bear with us as we deal with our techno issues and all this AIS. And we'll do what we need to do. But anyway, I'm Carl Price. It's Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. And when I come back, leave it alone. Anyway, what I was saying was that I'm going to let the crowd bring me back in again. The engineer and the producer, sometimes it just takes some time to get used to this stuff. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break, very, very quick break. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Deion Sanders from an NBCSports.com article. And then Paul and I are going to talk about Deion. And I want y'all to weigh in on the Deion phenomenon because I think that's what it is. And is this positive for the black male? Is it negative for the black male? Is he doing something? Is he a modern day Muhammad Ali where he predicts what his team is going to do and actually goes out and do it? And has he done enough to prove that he is one of the best college football coaches thus far? And Paul's looking at me with the side eye. By the way, Paul, I would tell you that I visited the funeral home of a friend of mine that passed away. And there was a young lady there who watched the show. And, boy, she has some choice words for you.
Why me?
Well, you, but she called you that little guy. But anyway, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Deion Sanders. I'm Carl Price. This is Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
All right, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I'm going to come over this way a little bit. So the incredible DEION Sanders, they often referred to as prime time. So I'm going to introduce you all to a bit of an article that I read. How's my sound, engineer? My sound? Sound good. I'm going to introduce you all to an article that I read and share this with you all from NBCSports.com, and I think it's Mike Florio that is the author of this. But the message was that it's just a matter of time before DEION Sanders is running one of the top programs in college football, whichever one it might be. They'll be happy to get him. The Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the all-time great defensive backs in the NFL history, has had a meteoric. Is that a good word?
Meteoric, yeah, it means
meteoric rise in his late career turn as a college football coach. In his debut, in his what is it?
Debut.
In his debut.
You tripping over your words?
I'm tripping over my words today because I think it's my back. With Colorado, which won only one game in 2022, Sanders and the Buffaloes upset number 17 TCU 45-42. And Deion's son, Shador, set a school record with 510 passing yards. For real. Deion said after the game, Shador Sanders from an HBCU, the one that played at Jackson State last year, the one that you asked me, why would I give him the starting job? I've got receipts. I know who they are, is what Deion said. Travis Hunter, another transfer from Jackson State, HBCU pride, by the way, played on both sides of the ball against TSU. He had 11 catches on offense and a key interception on defense. Now, Travis is him. Like the young folks say, Travis is it, Deion Sanders said. I always promote all my kids, and I really think we've got a couple of guys who should be front runners for the Heisman right now. Yeah, that's what Deion said. Beyond that, Deion should be a front runner to take over a major program. Colorado had to know Deion wouldn't be there for very long. Now, that's the writer's opinion. At this rate, the writer says, it'll be one and done before one of the major powers that decides to make a change chooses to entrust this program to Deion Sanders, who seems to be destined to compete for and to win a national championship. It also feels like just a matter of time before the NFL comes calling, although Deion has said he's not interested. That could change once an NFL team starts throwing NFL money at him, along with the chance to work his magic in the highest level of the sport. As someone whose roots for good stories, this is a great one, and it's only getting better. Where it ends, we'll all find out in time. Again, this is an article by that was brought to you by Mike Florio, and I think it was published before the Colorado State game from NBCSports.com. So we're talking about prime time. I'm going to take another short break. And then the producer and the engineer is going to bring us back. And Paul and I are going to talk about the incredible Deion Sanders. I'll be right back.
I don't want them, no, get them all off me. Say down for L, she a cause, you see. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a late night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, so out, I don't have no stage fright. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
All right, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Welcome back to Conscious Fever Radio here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. We're just indoctrinating our engineer here. That's all. Anyway, I'm getting my seat together because I'm trying to get my back together. But I want to say to one of my college classmates, Pam Perry Hill, thank you so much for the doTERRA and the peppermint because it's really helping my sinuses tonight. The peppermint is really good. I'll turn y'all on to that If you're not familiar with doTERRA, get used to doTERRA. Paul, before we started the show, sneezed about 30 times. So you could probably use it. Anyway, I'm going to bring Paul Mullins in. Paul is here tonight as a guest. And we're going to talk about Paul, the incredible DEION Sanders, prime time. Let's talk about this man.
Man, I love watching Colorado play. His kids do not give up, and it's part of his coaching philosophy. And it's not that they just don't give up. It's just that they believe from beginning and end that they can't be beat. And you're talking about a team last year that won one game. Now, I know that it's easy to say they won one game and that he's made a great turnaround, but you got to also realize what he did. He took a team of maybe 85 players and basically ran off 70 of them, 75 players, and then brought in a whole that's I don't know the ins and outs, but that's what I read, and when I'm watching TV, that's what they say. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but pretty much he turned over the whole team, and they ripped him a new one for doing that, saying you can't do it that way, and Deion's like, no, I'm going to do it my way. And what that shows is I like to see that in coaches. When they come in and they do it their way, and they don't just come in and say, okay, you teaching me how to coach. No, I like somebody who comes in and does that. You know, I like to tell my story. I used to coach Little League basketball, right? They always told me what I couldn't do when I was coaching basketball, and I just said I'm going to do it my way, and it worked out. And then winning championships with a team that hadn't won in 3 years. Yeah,
and that's pretty much what DEION is doing. So let's be clear. So what he did last summer or last spring, he was hired by the Colorado Buffaloes, who won only one game last year. They lost 11, a Big 12 school. And he came in and basically he had a meeting with the team. And what he told the team was, listen, all y'all that were here from last year, y'all might as well get into the transfer portal because you're probably not going to be playing.
That's not fair to the kids.
Yeah, and everybody and all the writers and reporters said that wasn't fair to the kids. And half of the kids, if not more, I think a little bit over half, Paul, actually jumped into the transfer portal. Well, that played right into Deion Sanders' hand, into Primetime's hands, right? And the reason it played right into his hands, you know why it played right into his hands? Because he was trying to pull 86 from the transfer portal. And he did. And quite a few from HBCUs, right? And so we can talk about Travis Hunter and what happened in the Colorado State game. I don't know. Did you see the Colorado State game?
Yeah, he got hit early in the game by a kid who was a safety coming off of a zone read. And he was covered up one-on-one, but the safety's covering the top of the zone read. He catches the ball. No, he doesn't. He's attempting to catch the ball. The ball's sailing way over his head. There was no need for the safety to pop him. I think it was number 12 on the other team or something like that. Really, really cheap shot. Hit the kid right up under his ribs, it looked like. I don't know what his actual injury was, but it looked like he got hit up under the rib. And, laid him out, but he did play some of the first half before he went to the hospital. So that's the kid, Travis Hunter, who plays both sides of the ball, I believe.
Right.
And he's Deion always hypes him up as a gifted athlete. Deion, how can you let him play offense and defense? He can do it
because he's just that good.
Yeah.
And that is not outside of the culture in HBCUs. You have players that play in the SWAC and the other HBCU divisions, and they actually play both sides of the ball. I see my friend Danny Carruthers from Bowling Green that's watching us, and I would tell you that I think Danny did that in high school. Well, a lot of guys do that in high school anyway, but Travis Hunter did that in college and at a major institution.
And that's not what people normally
and that's
do.
not right, absolutely. So what do y'all think? So, we're talking about the incredible Deion Sanders prime time. Do y'all think Deion is going to stay? You think he's going to go? I mean, what do you think? 502-614-0441. You can call in live, have a conversation with us. We can invite you on to our conversation so we can talk because we want to hear your side. It's just me and Paul here tonight. And, you might think that our side is just BS. And most of the time it is. But, yeah, most of the time it is. But in any case, so let's talk about – I want to talk about the Colorado and Colorado State game. Or we can just go back to TSU. First of all, TSU I'm sorry, not TSU. I'm thinking another HBCU, Tennessee State, but TCU. TCU, the runner up in the national championship last year. Now, to their credit, I don't know why anybody thought that they would demolish Colorado because they really got their ASS beat in the national championship game last year, right?
Their ass beat.
I mean, yes, I want you to say it because I'm a Christian, but they got it beat last year in the national championship game. So then they come and they play Colorado, who was 1-11 the year before.
Right.
And I'm not sure who the team was that they beat, but it's really interesting to know who they beat. They may have beaten a Division III school. I don't know. But in any case, and they go there and they literally show out. And Deion Sanders had every right to tell one reporter, "Do you believe now?" Did you see that press conference?
I didn't see that one. I saw the one after. I didn't see the part where he said, "Do you believe?"
He said, "Do you believe?" And then he didn't. Then he wouldn't take any questions from him. I like that.
Well, he's also arrogant about, or not arrogant, but he's confident about saying and promoting actually HBCUs, even though he's coaching for Colorado. And you made the statement that he may not stay at Colorado or something to that effect. I don't think he's necessarily going to be loyal to answer your question. I don't think he's going to be loyal to Colorado because I think he still has an affinity for promoting HBCUs because in some of the interviews after the Colorado State game, he simply said, "I saw all of this." He's talking about his kids on his team. He said, "I saw him do all this last year at HBCU." He said, "So y'all are amazed, but I'm not. I've seen it all." So he's kind of promoting HBCU talent and abilities. So I don't think he's loyal. I don't think he's loyal to Colorado. So
yeah, but the reality is that
I don't know that though. You know, I mean, I don't know what's going on in his head, but he doesn't seem like he is. And this sounds bad, but he doesn't seem like he's promoting Colorado as much as he's promoting himself.
I don't know about that.
No,
I don't know about that.
Let
But
me just explain that. I don't mean that he's saying it's all about DEION. It's all about DEION. I think when he goes out there and he says, or when he brings all the star power to Colorado, okay, you saw The Rock on the sideline. Who else did you see? You saw The Rock. You saw
yeah, but the star
rappers.
power is not going to help you win games.
No, but it's not going to help you win games, but it is going to attract the players.
Right.
And he always talks about NIL. So and when you talk about NIL, you're not promoting the school. You're promoting
the player.
I can get you the player what you need. And so wherever he goes, he's going to pull the players with him. So I'm not saying that he hates Colorado. He's against Colorado. I'm just saying he's promoting himself in a way outside of Colorado when he talks about NIL, when he talks about the star power, when he talks about his kids. He's promoting his program, not Colorado.
Right. And it's good to have a coach who loves his kids, right? But the real question is, if the NFL, as Mike Florio wrote at NBCSports.com, if he's correct, I mean, is Deion going to leave when the pros come running? I saw that Greg Freeman. Yeah, let's go to our comments. Can you get us to the comments, and then let's see this comment from Greg Freeman. If you can put that up there. Nope, just click it. Just click it. Yeah, there we go. So he says he loves a challenge, so I think he will eventually attempt to coach in the pros. And then Greg corrected himself in the pros. So you can bring it back to me, Paul.
So I mean, it's entirely possible, but coaching in the pros and coaching in college is different. I mean, you can look at some of the coaches who went to pros and succeeded. I can hear you, by the way. Who succeeded, and you have coaches who went and didn't succeed. I don't think that really drives them whether they'll succeed. They got to love what they're doing. And sometimes college football, you have more control over your players. You have more control over the program, you know.
Right, but do you think that – well, let me just ask this question. I'll ask the question to those.
Deion may not like – if he says I'm never going to pros, he might not. He might know what that beast is like, and he might not want to be a part of it.
Well, you know, but let's pose the question. How long do you think he'll stay at Colorado?
Until he can't do anymore, just like he did it at the HBCU. Until he feels like he can't accomplish it.
How about until his kids leave?
that's probably when he'll probably feel like I can't accomplish it.
Right. But I'm just gonna keep it real. Dion doesn't seem like that type of coach. It seems like a coach that actually loves the kids. And I think the most devastating thing for a student athlete, especially a college athlete these days, is to get recruited, for a coach to come into their living room, have dinner with them, sell the school to their parents and to them, and then the coach leaves.
Yeah, but so we had this discussion maybe last year when he left. What was the school that was it, like Jacksonville State, or what was the school? What was the school he was at last year? I can't even remember the name of it.
Jackson State.
Jackson
Yeah, I
State.
know, because you're not HBCU.
Well, I'm just saying. I couldn't
Jackson
remember
State University.
I couldn't remember the name.
Jackson
of
State
it.
University
Jackson,
Jaguars.
I had the J right. I just couldn't remember.
I don't know if it's the Jaguars, but anyways, it's Jackson State.
But I couldn't remember the name of the school. But it's okay. All I'm saying, my point is that I'm sure all the people and all the students at that school felt the same way, like he would never leave us, and they do. And I don't get mad at. I've never gotten mad at our coaches at U of L. That's what people do. You move up in life. You stay somewhere. I mean, it's like buying a house in. I'm trying not to pick on an area of town, but buying a house in a lower end of town, making enough money to move to a bigger end of town. 95% of people do it, and there's nothing wrong with coaches moving up and on. And so I just, do you find a problem with coaches moving up and on? Because I think that's just how.
No, I don't think anybody finds a problem with coaches. No, but here's the thing. Well, I mean, a lot of fans do, but I don't think a lot of people really have a problem with coaches moving up and moving on, because that is to be expected. I think what people have a problem with is the fact that a lot of times you leave these kids out in the cold.
But that's always good. You and I had this discussion. That's always going to be a factor. Like, whatever year you leave, you're leaving some classes in the cold, except the senior class. You're leaving a junior class.
Right.
You're leaving them all in the cold. But in order to move up and on, now if you did a 1 year and done, like who did that 1 year and done? Lane Kiffin? You do something like that.
Well, Kiffin did it, and I think the guy out at U of L did it too. Remember when he left and he came back? The guy that had the problem with the girls in Arkansas. What was his name? Petrino. Petrino came back, and then he went out the back door and went to Atlanta or somewhere like that. But I've just never been a fan. I've never been a fan of coaches who just leave the kids high and dry, because if you've ever been recruited, and I've never been recruited like these kids are being recruited today, but if you understand that recruitment process, if you've been a college athlete, especially a D1 college athlete, you know that they come into your living room. They have dinner. They sell themselves to your parents. For a lot of these kids, it's just one parent, and they sell themselves, and that's who the stock is in, and then they leave. And I never thought that was fair. Whether Deion, I don't think Deion is the type that would do that, but I do believe that Deion likes money. I mean, I think if the NFL says, listen, he's getting $5 million a year at Colorado. Right, so if the NFL comes and says, look, we're going to give you $50 million a year,
they're not going to get paid that much. The NFL might pay 5 to 10, and the issue becomes because Nick Saban's getting just as much as NFL coaches right now. So the question becomes, like someone said on your comments earlier, it's the challenge. It's not the money. They make plenty of money in college football to compete with pro coaches. It's the challenge. And, again, coaching pro-level athletes is different from college-level athletes, because the motivation's different, the abilities are different, and it's just, maybe it's something he doesn't like or doesn't want to do. Maybe he enjoys teaching young men to become NFL caliber players, because, we can talk about Charlie Strong all we want, but when Charlie Strong was here, no matter how good or bad our teams were, he put people in the NFL.
Right.
Because of the way he had them prepared to go to the NFL. And some people might like that.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. Let's look at this comment. I just see a comment from my buddy down in Bowling Green, Danny Carruthers. Let's read this. You move that over some. By the way, nice picture, Danny Carruthers, on your Facebook page. Tight. I think is what we used to call each other in college. But listen, I think Prime will eventually go to the NFL, and that damn Rooney Rule that has not worked. I truly think Prime could change the NFL, and people that look like us will get in as head coaches, and the rule will be the prime time rule. Huh? That's interesting. Are you familiar with the Rooney Rule?
Yes.
Yeah, the racist Rooney Rule. Yeah. I mean, good point. Good point, Danny. Again, if y'all want to call in, 614-0441 is the number if you want to call in, 614-0441.
So, Carl, you want to know what the dirty little secret is?
What's the dirty little secret, Paul?
I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, I believe there is a multitude of black people who did not even know or care about watching Colorado football, who tuned into Colorado football to watch Deion Sanders because it's like he's making a movement for black, not just black coaches, but black people.
11 million people watched the Colorado and Colorado State game. I think it was. I heard two numbers. I don't know if it was 90 million, but 11 million people or 90 million people. It might have been 90. I don't know, but it was a lot of people. It was the highest watched college football game. And for those of us on
I think it was for Thursday night or that night.
Right, but for us on the East Coast, we had to stay up until 1:30, 2 in the morning.
Right, it was the highest rated game for that time.
Right, to watch it, and I did it because I stayed up because I wanted to see the end result. I mean, obviously, when Coach Norvell made it personal, it became a little bit more interesting. But I would tell you that was one hell of a game, and I think at that time,
on both sides of the ball,
on both sides of the ball,
coaching their teams very well.
Right, but I think Shedeur Sanders proved that he is a Heisman candidate. Now, a lot of people are going to argue, listen, it was just Colorado State. But I think if Colorado State played like that every weekend, every game, I think they would be a contender. Yeah, that was that was a pretty good game. I thought their quarterback was pretty good. I didn't like the cheap hit on Travis Hunter.
Terrible.
But I thought it was a very, very well played game, and I thought there had to have been a lot of scouts there. But I thought Shedeur Sanders showed that he is capable of being in the top 5 in the Heisman discussion. What do y'all think? Well, is he a Heisman discussion candidate?
Well, I mean, he's got the stats to back it up. His brother's on the team too on defense. He's pretty good.
Shiloh, yeah, got that interception.
The kid Hunter Travis is pretty good. I'm gonna pump the brakes on you.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna pump the brakes on you because it's probably a little too early. The only person who ran away with the Heisman like that was Lamar Jackson. Remember when he was
because Lamar was just incredible,
hopping over people. That did it for him.
Well, but it wasn't the hop. I mean, and I know it wasn't the hop. It was just his incredible ability to make touchdowns.
And he limped into winning that Heisman at the end because he wasn't as good at the end of the season. But he had so many highlights from the beginning of the season. You're like, oh, he's the best player. And he rode it the rest of the season. Yeah,
when Florida State came to Louisville and Lamar and the Louisville Cardinals just demolished them. And I think Florida State was ranked, but they were highly favored to win that game. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were ranked in the top 10. And I think that was the year that Louisville creeped into the top 10, right? But here's the thing. I just think Shedeur Sanders showed his ASS, and I think that he showed that he should be in the conversation of Heisman. Now, some may say it's too early. Some may say they haven't played anybody, but is the Oregon game going to be a test?
They did play.
I think they played. I think TCU was good. Nebraska wasn't bad. I mean, they're not ranked, but Nebraska wasn't bad. Did you see the game?
Yeah.
I saw the game. Nebraska wasn't bad.
I'm telling you, people are watching Colorado. I think just black people in general are watching Colorado, rooting for Colorado because we see, even though Colorado's a predominantly white school, I think people kind of see it as a HBCU team because of all the players that he pulled from HBCU. And where he came from, people are rooting for him. Like, I haven't found anybody who said, oh, man, screw Deion. They wanted Deion to win against another black coach. I didn't even know the other coach was black. I seen his pictures and everything. Just didn't want to believe he was black. And then they say on TV, oh, he's black. And I'm like, huh? He's black. You know what I'm talking about? The Colorado.
Yeah,
State
Norvell.
coach?
Yeah, Coach Norvell. But I
I
just
was like, oh, he's mixed. Me and my son were talking about. I was like, oh, he's mixed. He can't be black. But yeah, he is.
well, aren't those one and the same, Paul?
No, but I'm saying
According to the Creole rule in Louisiana for slaves, isn't that the same thing?
Of course it is, but I'm saying we were rooting so hard for DEION that we didn't even want Colorado
I
State's
didn't know the
coach.
audience was gonna laugh at that one.
We was rooting so hard for DEION that we didn't want to believe that the other coach was black. That's how hard we was rooting.
Yeah.
He's mixed. He ain't black. He ain't fully black. DEION, nah. Then they said it on TV. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But, you know, the interesting thing, I think, more than anything, is that I like the positive approach that DEION is taking with what he's doing. And I thought it was very admirable of him at his press conference, at his pre-press conference, I think, his pre-game conference to talk about Oregon. He just came out of the box and said, listen, fans, listen, this man does not deserve to be threatened, to have his life threatened. He came out in his press conference and said, listen, this is just a game. And I'm going to tell y'all, it is not cool. If any of y'all are fans of Colorado and y'all are doing that, that's not cool. This young man does not deserve to have his life threatened because of what happened in that game. He said, football's football. And I thought that was very admirable of a coach to say that.
About Oregon?
No, he said that about Colorado State, the player that hit Travis Hunter.
Okay.
And you know, he could have easily taken a left turn and said, you know, that butthole. Yeah, that was a dirty shot, and he should have been kicked out and made those arguments, but he didn't. He said, and I think that was a lot. Yeah. I think that's just tells us the real character that Deion Sanders has, because this kid just didn't hit anybody. He hit Travis Hunter.
That's one of the best players.
One of the best players in college football, they are saying now. After the first two games, he was one of the best players in college football. So I think that is a true testament of his character. And I like the positivity that he is showing as a black man.
Well, all right. So
in that role.
So we've hyped up DEION, but let's pump the brakes a little bit more.
Well, I'm not going to pump the brakes because I think they're going to beat Oregon, and I want your prediction on Oregon. I know you're going to go with the mainstream.
I'm going to give you the analysis. Oregon probably has a 90% chance of winning, according to the experts. Okay, whoever they are.
So did TCU.
I agree. So I don't know where they base their predictions from. I mean, Colorado is a good team. When you look at the team, you watch their perseverance. What was the word that DEION used? He said resilience. You watch their resilience and you think to yourself, that's what Alabama would do. Be down in a game and still win the game. And that team, Colorado State, was thwarting them at every play at the beginning of the game. And it was like they're running what they call cross routes. Okay, so that's where you take a wide receiver or a tight end, send everybody deep, and you run somebody underneath. They kept hitting that play, and they asked DEION about that, and he was like, "We knew the play was coming. We couldn't stop it. Like we were trying to, but we couldn't." So he's like telling you, Colorado State had a formula to beat them, and they still, having that adversity, knowing that they couldn't stop, still managed to win the game. And it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't some lucky play. They just came back and beat the team. And when it came down to it, the last minute of the game, Shedeur Sanders gets the ball with a 5-yard line. And he goes down 98 yards and gets a touchdown. And the pass he threw to that guy between I guess you call it a 2-deep zone or a cover 2 where you got somebody up high and somebody up low, he throws it right into that hole where the ball needs to be. And then this wide receiver makes a juke move and he scores. I mean, that is something that you would see Alabama do, and you go, oh, okay, that's what they do. And so now when we see them do it, we say, oh, well, it's Colorado State. No, they had the same chances of losing that game that they would have had against any other team. Well, that team was playing perfect against them.
Let me just make one disclaimer from our title, because I see people logging on and logging off. The title is The Incredible Deion Sanders Prime Time. And I apologize if y'all think that Deion Sanders is going to be on this show tonight. But I just got that people are probably logging in thinking, oh, Carl's talking to Deion Sanders. I can.
You wish.
I can, but I think he's concentrating on his game against Oregon. But
Well,
9:43. Let's talk about predictions. Is that what that is? Yeah, 9:43, 27 seconds.
20-point favorite.
Yeah, but so is so is TCU.
TCU was a favorite before they knew who.
And TCU was
Colorado
17.
was.
Oregon is what, 13?
Yeah.
I mean, and I know Bo Mix is at Oregon. You know who Bo Mix is? This incredible quarterback that is probably a Heisman Trophy candidate. But
this game right here will decide. And I don't want people to jump off and say, "See, we told you so." This is still a team that won one game last year. So even if they play Oregon, even if they get beat by Oregon, nobody expects them to go undefeated.
yeah, how many writers and reporters have already written their story about when Colorado loses?
Yeah,
right. I just here's what I believe. Let me just give you my spiel on coaches. It's real simple. I've said it one time, I'll say it 1,000 times. I do not think that John Calipari is a good basketball coach. And the reason I say that is because I don't see that John Calipari has the ability to motivate his athletes, okay? And again, you don't get bonus points at all just because you get the best of the best, right? And when you get the best of the best and all you have to do is just put them out there, put a uniform on them, give them a basketball and put them out on the court, you don't get brownie points for that. What you get brownie points for is what DEION is doing. And what DEION is doing, DEION is taking some kids, okay, that are a lot of people thought was mediocre. Okay, all of a sudden now they're in the top 25. They were not even thought about of being in the top 25. And he's motivating these kids to play. And that's the essence of a coach. Remember last year, Paul, we talked about Kenny Payne. And one of the criticisms I had of Kenny Payne is when he did his post-game press conferences, one of the things that he would say would be like, these kids, they just didn't put an effort into it. And I was thinking to myself, Kenny, you got to be kidding me, right? The coach is the motivator. That's all a coach is the motivator. The coach can't play the game. The coach is a motivator. And I see DEION as the motivator. Everything he says in that locker room and around those kids is positive. But I'm going to tell you what I did. I went back and I looked at, there's a show on YouTube, The Sanders. And it's a show about the high school football games of Shador when DEION was coaching at that Texas Tech high school. I think in Dallas. I think it's in Dallas. Amazing. If y'all haven't seen that, y'all want to go on YouTube and watch that. It's amazing. And I think you can get a better understanding. I need some more peppermint.
Or something.
I didn't get it back. Well, you sneezed like 100 times consecutively.
I did not sneeze. Okay, fine. You done? You having fun? I didn't sneeze on camera. Okay, I got all that out of there. But going back to, I remember when DEION gave a speech to Colorado in an auditorium. His first speech. They put it on ESPN. And when I saw that speech,
that wasn't an auditorium. But go ahead.
It was an auditorium. It wasn't a gym.
It was in a locker. I think it was in one of their locker rooms. You know, one of their film rooms. One of their film rooms.
All right, he was on a stage though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I saw that speech and I watched it, and I immediately said, "Man, I want to play football for him." You remember that speech? We kind of talked about it. I said, "I want to play football for him." The way he went out there and he's motivating them right then and there, and they're all just looking up at him. And I was like, man, I'd want to go play for him. But he has that background of, I guess, media personality from being on TV and stuff, and that translates to the players. And half the time when you're coaching kids, half of your job is to be able to communicate with them on a level that they understand and make them want to work for you. For instance, if you're an old man and you don't relate to them. That's why when coaches get older, they stop relating to their players and they become less effective unless they hire, good assistants.
Let's look at our lawyer buddy in D.C., Derek Page's comment. Derek always has some interesting comments. I'm surprised they let you back on Facebook, Derek. DEION is coaching 4 and 5 stars the same way Calipari is coaching blue chips. But he does seem to be a better teacher, particularly given that coaching skill positions and scheming college football is much more complex than basketball. Interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, also, we overlooking the fact that it's not just DEION. He put together a staff of coaches that could be head coaches at other places, some of them, because everybody wants to play for him. Like I said, if you watch his motivational speeches, man, it'll make you want to quit being a lawyer and go work for him.
I don't know about that, but
right. But you know,
but
speech, but
no, but you talk about the motivational speeches, and those are the ones
and
where
the swag in the press conferences,
right, where he's uplifting. But I'm talking about the speech when he first came there, which I thought was bold, and a lot of people said the nerve of you to come here and tell these kids that you're not coming. I mean, he came there and he said, Mr. Quarterback, stand up. My son's going to be the quarterback next year. I'm just telling you that now. So if you want to get in the transfer portal, and obviously that was a little embarrassing for the kid. Mm-hmm. I think that we all.
But DEION had an answer for that. He said, if my word to a student athlete makes him want to run off the team, he wasn't going to be on this team anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That was deep,
man.
Yeah, that was pretty deep. That was pretty deep because I think when you think about, some of the things he says, it's just like
if my words can scare you off, you don't deserve to be here.
And you don't deserve to be here. Yeah. I remember hearing that. But anyway, Paul, 9:49. I want to know, 20 points, is that what the spread is?
It's about that, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that Oregon will win? Or do you think that Colorado?
I'm not betting against.
No, this is not a bet. I'm just asking you to make a prediction.
I'm telling you, I'm not betting.
You're not betting against Colorado.
No.
Okay, so you think they might win?
Yeah. I'm gonna be rooting for them like I'd be rooting for UVL.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Engineers telling me I can't do that. I'm gonna make my prediction. My prediction is I think Colorado is gonna beat Oregon. I think that it's interesting that they give that the spread is 20 points. Okay. And I think that's interesting because Oregon is 13. Oregon is 13 for a reason. And they're either 13 because they're not as good as the other 12 teams above them, or they just deserve to be 13. And if they deserve to be 13 and Colorado is what? In one of the polls, 18? My thought is
Oregon's 10 and Colorado.
Okay, Oregon's 10. And 10 and Colorado's what? 19. That's in one poll. But here's the thing. I think Colorado's going to win, even without Travis Hunter. I really do believe that Colorado is going to win, and I think that that's going to, make this another Deion Sanders week because all of the attention is on Colorado. $5,000 for a ticket just to get a ticket to the Colorado game when you could walk into the game free last year. That's incredible.
Well, that says something about what DEION brings. So DEION, I remember when they hired him, we didn't have Jeff Brom at the time, and they hired him. I said, man, I wish we had gotten him. But now that's right around the time when I watched his first speech to the team, because what he brings, other than, let's say he wasn't a great, I don't know what kind of coach he is really. We only know what we've seen through 3 games. But outside of coaching, he brings that attention to the school. And all I'm saying is, if you go to a 5-stars home with a Charlie Strong,
but attention doesn't win the game.
No. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Well, okay, Nick Saban. It's easy for Nick Saban to look like a football genius when you've got the best players in the country. So if I line up all the best players against the rest of the crew, I've got a great chance of winning, even if I'm not doing anything special with my football X's and O's. I've got a great chance of winning because when it comes down to it, when you play football, it's about the guys you got in the trenches blowing up holes on defense and offense. And you can have the fastest running back in the league. You can have the best quarterback. But if you don't have those beefy guys on the lines to protect them and make holes or get to the quarterback, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't really matter how good your skill levels are. So schools like Alabama, Texas, not even really Texas, but Alabama, LSU, those good SEC teams, and your Ohio States, not really Michigan, but they go in and they get the best interior players. There's only so many interior players that you have in the nation who are top notch, who are your blind sides and all that. So if Alabama scoops them all up and they've got the best offensive line year in, year out, just rotating in and out like shark's teeth, right? You know how shark's teeth rotate in and out, and you got the best talent, you've got a great chance of winning. So what I'm saying is DEION brings that. I can now steal players from Alabama because I'm DEION. And you can't get that done at most other schools.
Well, I listen, Paul. I do agree that his swag made, and Lil Wayne showing up and The Rock showing up may make some student athletes say, yeah, I want to be a part of this Colorado thing.
And all he has to do is start winning, and then all of a sudden it'll be an avalanche.
Yeah, but
Saban's getting old.
But DEION is not the type that would take anybody. Right.
Well, no, you don't have to take anybody when the best of the best are coming to you.
You're saying these kids that are coming are the best of the best? Is that what you're saying? Yes. I mean, because I'm just saying that anybody could want to be there, but it's just like the 86 he took out, but all of those that got into the transfer portal.
Carl, at the end of the season, this is my prediction. They're going to liken DEION's team in college football to the Fab Five of basketball.
Okay. What do you think about Derek's comment? Derek Page commented that if they upset them without T. Hunter, more heads are going to turn for sure.
Oh, of course. And he's kind of linking up to what I'm saying. I'm saying DEION's bringing talent. And the way college football is, it's easy to dictate who's the best basketball players because it's a 5-man team. There's not very many players in the pool. But when you're talking about an evaluation of all the players in college football, right? You've got a 10 times larger pool because you got 100 players instead of the top 10, right? So you've got 100 players to pull from. I'm not saying 100 players, 100 players per team. So think of how many football players are compared to basketball players. These recruiting sites or recruiting experts, they get it wrong a lot. Yeah. And if DEION is getting the better talent, they're underranking the talent, not because they've actually gone out and seen the talent. They're underranking the talent because they're saying they're not at Alabama, therefore they can't be a 5-star.
Well, what do you think?
There's 5-star talent on that.
What do you think? How much do you think the bias against HBCUs had to do with the perception of what DEION would do or could do at Colorado?
Well, it's 100% because they figured you're bringing a quarterback from an HBCU. You must not be good enough to compete on the level of Oregon and Pac-10 or whatever conference. And yet when you see him out there making the throws he's making, you think, oh my, one of the commenters said, oh, DEION's kid can play. And DEION was like, yeah, we knew that.
Yeah, we knew that. Right.
Y'all didn't. We knew it.
Right.
And so what's going on is you have talent that goes to the HBCU, but because they go to HBCU, the experts downgrade their talent. Because you didn't go to Alabama, you didn't go to Michigan, you didn't go to Ohio State, therefore you must not be any good. And I'm saying DEION's going to change that by pulling in the talent, and he's going to be known for not taking XYZ player who went to Alabama, and he cut him because he's you're not good enough.
Last question before I'm able to get out of here. And if y'all want to join in the last question, you all can, 502-614-0441 before we log off. Last question is, how much do you think what DEION's doing at Colorado and the players that came from Jackson State and some of the other HBCU schools, how much of that do you believe would encourage or entice some scouters to look in the transfer portal for some of those athletes from HBCUs?
I don't know that it would entice them to do anything differently because all it's going to take is for DEION to lose a game and everybody's going to say, see, I told you so, right. You couldn't do it that way. And they won't look to that talent. They won't see that despite them thinking he couldn't do it that way, he's already done it that way.
Right.
So I don't think it affected people who, if you're a naysayer, you're blind, you're going to see what you want to see. But what I saw on that field was talent that competed with what people said was the superior talent. Now, have we seen them against schools that we know has, quote unquote superior talent? I always pick out Alabama because when you look at the recruiting websites, that's who the experts say has the best talent year in and year out. Maybe not top number one every year, but year in, year out.
Happy belated Founders Day, good barrister brother. Thank you, Derek Page, for, Founders Day, September 19, 1963, for Iota Phi Theta. Thank you. It's always good to get well wishes from a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. You know, this Kappa here, Derek, won't acknowledge my organization, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But in any case,
Acknowledge your organization. That's not true.
Yeah. Anyway, Paul, I think this is probably.
What's your final score prediction, by the way?
My final score prediction is that. My final score prediction is this. My final score prediction is that it is going to be a low-scoring game. I do not believe it's going to be a high-scoring game. I predict that I think we will be lucky to see anybody score over 15 points. Any team score over 15 points. Hold on. Any team score over 15 points. And I think Colorado is going to beat Oregon.
I'm going 38-35 Colorado. You saying it's going to be a low-scoring game? I think you're going to be wild. I think it's going to be high-scoring.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because of the defense that both are going to be forced to play. I mean, obviously, they have a defense for Shedeur Sanders. I mean, they're going to try to.
See, but
and I think Colorado has a defense for Bo Nix.
I don't think Colorado's going to score less than 28 and
You know, you might be right. I just and that's just a gut of mine. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if collectively they score over 90 points. You know,
the over under 70, by the way.
Huh?
The over under is 70.
Okay. What do you mean over under 70?
70 points for the game total.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Anyway, we are 53 minutes in. So, Paul, I want to thank you for joining me once again on this show. And for all of you all who thought that Deion Sanders would be on the show, the title was not intended to be deceptive, but it was just that we were going to talk about the incredible Deion Sanders, because I think he's incredible now, and I think there's more to come. As you know, Paul, he has already indicated that the team has not played the best that it possibly could play, and maybe we will see that against Oregon.
Every coach says that, though.
Against Oregon or USC. I mean, the USC game is going to be great, too. What's your prediction on USC?
I don't know yet. I had to see one game at a time, as the coaches tell you. But as far as him saying that his team hasn't played its best yet, most coaches say that. You can't tell a team that you're coaching that they played their best game unless it's the last game of the season.
He says that the best has yet to come out of,
but you can't say it. Like, as a
Colorado.
coach, you can't tell your kids this is the best you've ever played, because that means they can only go down. You've got to keep pushing them to another level.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to end it on that. This is Coach Prime right here. Actually, when I went to the homecoming last year, I wore my college homecoming, HBCU homecoming, by the way, Paul.
What's the difference? Homecoming.
Oh, it's an HBCU homecoming. That's the difference. No.
We have parades.
No,
we have queens.
But they're not quite like the HBCU queens.
Well, you ain't telling me what the difference is.
Okay, you know what the difference is. You know, you just trying to put me on the spot. No. No, you don't.
HBCU.
No, you just want to put me on. No,
listen,
you didn't really get educated at a real school unless you
got
at your HBCU.
I got a degree.
And by the way, y'all, this really gets under Paul's skin when I talk about HBCUs. Paul thinks that all HBCU graduates are arrogant and that we talk with Bo. We're just like Deion Sanders. We just we're just confident, man.
Deion went to Florida State.
Dude, I understand where he went to, but I'm just saying. But he has all of the characteristics of an HBCU grad. He's arrogant.
How about this?
And I'm sorry. He's not arrogant. What he is, he's confident. And it's easy for people in America to perceive our confidence as arrogance. It's just that we're confident.
I'm confident.
And
I don't understand.
I don't know if you're as confident. I don't know if the PWIs are as confident as the HBCUs. And I'm just gonna call it like it is.
My degree is worthless.
No. I'm not saying that your I'm not saying
it's not worth as much.
I'm not saying put Paul back on the screen. I'm not saying
not worth as much.
I'm not saying that your degree is worth it. Can you put us both back on the screen?
You just said,
okay. Not side by side with the video between us.
You just said that.
Okay. No, what I'm saying, Paul, is that there's something special about an HBCU degree, about the HBCU culture, about graduating from an HBCU. And just because we're confident about who we are and where we're going and how we're going to do it and how we're going to get there doesn't mean that we're arrogant.
You don't think we wasn't confident about who we were and where we were going and how we were going to get there? In fact, I think
y'all were kind of submissive.
I think
y'all were kind of submissive.
The black experience on the PWI actually makes you stronger. Because you're not
okay, y'all. He's about to start an HBCU argument here.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying it makes you stronger because you're surrounded by people who are not like you and you have to survive.
Right. Here's the difference. Paul.
What is the difference? You making stuff up.
No, I'm not making stuff up.
Here it comes.
We
Get your shovel.
Had no need to have a designated black student union and an HBCU.
And you know what?
And I'm going to leave it at that.
And you know what?
Anyway.
Guess what? We did.
Yeah, but I just we didn't have black student unions. What's a black student union where all black people come together on the PWI? Come on, man. I mean, HBC, and I'm not saying everybody should go to an HBCU. I'm just saying.
That's what it sounds like.
I know what I'm saying is that you get one of the best educations at HBCU because the education is just not academic. The education at HBCU is culture, and it's really, really rich.
So you said all the black folks I went to school with.
The 2%? Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
The 2% of the whole population at the University of Kentucky.
And you know I went to school with some of your relatives, okay, or at least one of your relatives. We went to a PWI, as you say. I think we didn't have a black experience.
I think they just grabbed the affirmative action rope to go to UK.
Oh, wow.
HBCUs are the place to go. Anyway, Paul, we're gonna leave it at that. Thank you for joining me this week. Can you take me out, Mr. Producer? So we can get, he always likes to have this.
All right.
Anyway, this has been Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
This way. Have you been to the homecoming? Oh, yeah, that's right. I went up there and won the step show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, at HBCU.
At HBCU.
I'll believe it when I see it. Anyway, y'all. I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. I'll see you next week.
I don't want them, no, get them all off me. Say that for L, she a cause, you see. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a lane night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, so out, I don't have no stage right. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
Never get enough of you. Bright sneakers on, getting ready for a flashback. Time keeps moving on, looking at you, feeling like I could never get enough of you. And I could never get enough of you. I could never get enough of you.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a
change gonna come. Oh, yes, it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking me back down on the knee. Oh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is. Said I know that a change is gonna come one day. I know a change